This message found you for a reason. Don't skip this. Not because these words are special, not because this message is dramatic, but because God Himself knew you would be here at this exact moment. You could have scrolled past. You could have chosen something lighter. You could have told yourself, "I'll listen later." But you didn't. Something inside you paused. Something inside you felt a quiet pull. Something inside you whispered, "Stay." And God says, that pause was me. This message didn't find you by chance. It found you by design. Long before you opened this video, heaven was already aware of your heart. Before today began, God already knew how heavy this moment would feel for you. Before you felt tired, God saw your strength running low, and He waited. Not to interrupt you, but to meet you exactly where you are. God says, "I know you almost skipped this. I know your mind is full. I know your heart is tired. But if you leave now, you will miss what I've been gently trying to say. You have been carrying a weight that no one else sees. You wake up and do what needs to be done. You show up. You survive. You smile when required. But inside, you are tired in a way sleep does not fix. God sees that. People see your discipline. God sees your exhaustion. People hear your words. God hears your silence. You have prayed prayers without folding your hands. You have cried without tears falling. You have asked questions that stayed trapped in your chest. And God says, "I heard every one of them." Some prayers never become words. They become sighs. They become quiet breaths. They become moments where you stare into nothing, hoping someone understands. God understands. He says, some of the strongest prayers you prayed were the ones you didn't know how to say. You thought prayer had to sound confident. You thought faith had to look strong. You thought belief meant never feeling unsure. But God says, "I listened even when your faith was tired." You did not lose God because you questioned. You did not disappoint Him because you felt weak. You did not drift away because you felt confused. In fact, God says, you came closer because honesty draws heaven near. Right now, you may feel like life has slowed down around you, like doors are not opening, like answers are not arriving, like effort is not producing results. And quietly, fear starts whispering, what if nothing changes? What if this is all there is? What if I waited for nothing? God hears those thoughts too, and He responds. Stillness does not mean absence. Silence does not mean abandonment. Seeds grow underground. Roots strengthen where eyes cannot see. And the most important work happens before the breakthrough appears. God says, I am doing something deeper than what you asked for. You asked for relief. God prepared restoration. You asked for answers. God prepared wisdom. You asked for change. God prepared transformation. What feels like delay is actually alignment. You may feel forgotten by people, overlooked, taken for granted, left behind while others move forward. But God says, I have never lost sight of you. He remembers every time you chose patience over anger, every time you stayed kind while hurting, every time you kept going when quitting felt easier. Those moments were not invisible. Heaven noticed. God says, I recorded your endurance. You didn't fail because it took longer. You didn't miss your moment because the timing changed. You didn't lose your chance because life became difficult. God says, I protect what I delay. If it had happened earlier, it would not have lasted. If it had come sooner, it would have broken you. If the door opened then, you would not have been ready. God never rushes what He intends to bless. Right now, He is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking you to stay. Stay present, stay open, stay listening. Because this message is not just comfort, it is direction. You are standing at a moment where heaven is quietly recalibrating your path. Not loudly, not forcefully, but gently. God says, I am shifting things you don't yet recognize. You may feel restless without knowing why, unsettled without a clear reason, pulled toward change but unsure of the next step. That is not confusion. That is preparation. God is loosening what you've outgrown. He is weakening what no longer serves you. He is creating space for what comes next. And yes, sometimes that feels uncomfortable. Growth often feels like loss before it feels like gain. Transition often feels like uncertainty before it feels like clarity. But God says, trust me in the in-between. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not late. You are becoming. Right now, God wants you to hear this clearly. You are not overlooked. You are not ignored. You are not alone. He has been walking with you through every quiet struggle, every hidden fear, every private battle, even when you felt nothing, even when prayers felt empty, even when hope felt distant. God remained. And now He says, don't skip this moment. This is where your strength is being renewed. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know how it will work out. You only need to remain open, because God is about to speak again. And what He says next will touch the very place you've been guarding the most. Stay with me, God says. We are just beginning. God knows the battle. You never talk about don't skip this, because this part is for the struggle you hide the most, the one you don't explain, the one you smile through, the one you fight quietly when the world thinks you are fine. God says, I know the battle you never talk about. Not the obvious one, not the one people can see, but the private war inside your thoughts, the constant pressure inside your chest, the exhaustion that doesn't come from work, but from holding everything together. You learned how to function while hurting, how to keep moving while bleeding internally, how to stay strong because others depended on you. And slowly, being strong became a habit, a role, a mask. But God never mistook your strength for peace. He saw the nights you replayed conversations in your head, the moments you questioned yourself in silence, the seconds where your heart whispered, I can't do this anymore. God says, you were never weak for feeling this way. You thought faith meant never feeling overwhelmed. You thought trust meant never feeling afraid. You thought belief meant always being confident. But God says, faith means showing up even when you are tired. You showed up when you felt empty. You kept going when quitting felt logical. You carried responsibilities that felt heavier than your strength. And God noticed. You didn't collapse because you couldn't afford to. You didn't break down because others needed you whole. You didn't complain because you didn't want to be a burden. But God says, you never burdened me. Every silent tear reached heaven. Every deep breath counted as prayer. Every moment you held on was recorded. You may not talk about it, but God knows the fear you live with, the fear of losing what you love, the fear of failing people who trust you, the fear that if you stop, everything will fall apart. God says, I am stronger than what you are afraid of. You've been trying to control outcomes to feel safe, planning every step, overthinking every decision, replaying every mistake, because uncertainty scares you. But God gently says, you don't need to control what I already hold. You were never meant to carry this alone. Some of your pain comes from expectations, not from others, but from yourself. You expected yourself to heal faster, to be stronger sooner, to understand quicker. to move on easier. But God says, healing does not follow a schedule. You don't heal because time passes. You heal because truth enters. And today, truth is speaking. God knows the disappointment you never admitted, the plans that didn't work, the prayers that felt unanswered, the doors that closed without explanation. You asked, why me? You asked, what did I do wrong? You asked, was my faith not enough? God answers, this was not punishment. Not every hardship is correction. Not every delay is rejection. Not every struggle means you failed. Sometimes it means you were trusted with growth. God saw what this season would develop inside you. Patience you didn't know you had. Depth you never expected. Wisdom that can't be taught. You didn't just survive. You matured, even when it hurt. There are wounds you never received an apology for. Situations you never got closure from. People who walked away without explanation, and you tried to be okay with it. But God says, unhealed wounds don't disappear. They grow quiet. You learned to live with pain instead of healing it. You learned to normalize what hurt you. You learned to move forward without resolution. But God doesn't want you carrying that anymore. He says, bring it to me. The anger you suppressed, the sadness you minimized, the grief you postponed. God is not afraid of your honesty. He is not offended by your questions. He is not distant from your pain. In fact, God says, I am closest when you are most honest. You don't need perfect words. You don't need spiritual language. You don't need to pretend you're okay. You only need truth. Because truth opens the door for healing. You've been fighting thoughts that tell you you're falling behind, that others are moving ahead while you're stuck, that your life should look different by now. God interrupts those thoughts and says, you are exactly where you need to be. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because it is forming you. Comparison is not your enemy. Impatience is. And God says, what I'm building in you cannot be rushed. You don't see the full picture yet. You don't see how this connects. You don't see what this season protects you from. But one day you will. And you will thank God for the delays that saved you, the closed doors that guarded you, the pauses that strengthened you. God knows the battle you never talk about. And He is not asking you to fight harder. He is asking you to rest deeper. Rest does not mean giving up. Rest means trusting. Trusting that God is working even when you don't feel progress. Trusting that silence doesn't mean absence. Trusting that your story is still unfolding. God says, you are not fighting alone anymore. What you couldn't defeat by effort, God will resolve by grace. What drained you by force, God will heal by peace. What confused you by pressure, God will clarify by timing. This part of your journey is not about pushing forward. It is about letting go. Letting go of guilt. Letting go of self-blame. Letting go of the idea that you should have it all figured out. God never asked that of you. He only asked for your heart, and He still has it. So don't skip this, because God is doing something inside you. Not visible yet, not loud yet, but powerful. And in the next part, God will show you what He has been doing behind the scenes while you waited. Stay, God says. I am not finished speaking. What God is doing behind the scenes while you wait. Don't skip this, because this is the part you could never see. The work God was doing while nothing seemed to be happening. You called it delay. You called it silence. You called it being stuck. But God calls it preparation. He says, while you were waiting, I was working. Not in ways you expected, not in the direction you were watching, not on the timeline you demanded, but deeply, carefully, lovingly. You looked at your life and saw stillness. God looked at your life and saw alignment. Some of God's most important work happens in quiet places, where there is no applause, no announcements, no visible change, because visibility invites pressure, and pressure ruins fragile beginnings. God says, "I hid the process to protect the promise." If you had seen everything happening behind the scenes, you would have rushed it, questioned it, interfered with it. So God worked in silence. While you asked for open doors, God was rearranging rooms you didn't know existed. While you prayed for relief, God was strengthening your foundation. While you asked, "When?" God asked, "Are you ready?" You don't prepare for the future by rushing toward it. You prepare by becoming the person who can carry it. And that is what God has been doing with you. He has been teaching you patience, not by explanation, but by experience. Teaching you trust, not by comfort, but by endurance. Teaching you dependence, not by answers, but by silence. You thought the waiting was empty. It wasn't. Every quiet moment was shaping your character. Every unanswered question was deepening your faith. Every delayed outcome was building emotional strength you didn't know you'd need. God says, "I was preparing you for what you asked for." There are blessings that cannot be given to an unprepared heart. There are doors that would crush you if they opened too early. There are responsibilities that require maturity before opportunity. God is careful with His yes. He doesn't rush what must last. You may have noticed that certain people slowly drifted away during this season. Conversations faded, connections weakened, support systems changed. You wondered why. God says, "Not everyone can go where I'm taking you." Some people were only meant for a chapter, not the entire story. Some were meant to teach you something, not stay forever. Some were removed to protect you, not punish you. Letting go hurt, but holding on would have hurt more. God removed distractions so you could hear Him clearly. He removed dependence so you could discover your strength. He removed noise so He could speak. And in the silence, something inside you changed. You became more aware, more discerning, more grounded. Even if you didn't feel it, you grew. God says, "I was pruning, not punishing." Pruning always looks like loss before it looks like growth, but it is necessary for fruitfulness. You don't grow by adding more. You grow by removing what no longer serves. God was removing habits that drained you, thought patterns that limited you, beliefs that no longer fit who you're becoming. You didn't notice it happening, but now you're not the same person you were before. Your tolerance for chaos is lower. Your patience for disrespect is thinner. Your desire for depth is stronger. That is not weakness. That is clarity. God was also working in situations you had no control over, changing circumstances, softening hearts, rearranging outcomes. While you thought doors were closing permanently, God was quietly unlocking better ones. He was preventing attachments that would have delayed you, redirecting paths that would have exhausted you, saving you from consequences you never saw coming. God says, some delays were protection in disguise. You prayed for certain outcomes that God didn't give you. At the time, it hurt. But what if God didn't deny your prayer? What if He answered it differently? What if He saved you from what looked good but wasn't right? What if He blocked what you weren't ready to release? What if He protected you from a version of life that would have drained you slowly? God sees further than you. He knows what the future demands from you. He knows what kind of strength you will need. He knows what kind of heart can carry what's coming. So He prepared you quietly. You felt restless because you were outgrowing your old life. You felt uncomfortable because your spirit was stretching. You felt unsettled because you were being repositioned. Transitions are rarely peaceful. They are often confusing. But confusion does not mean misdirection. God says, you were not lost. You were being guided. Every closed door refined your discernment. Every delay sharpened your patience. Every quiet season trained your endurance. You didn't just wait. You were trained. And now, you are closer than you think. Closer to clarity, closer to peace, closer to the breakthrough you stopped expecting. God never forgot the promises He whispered to you. He never lost track of the desires He placed in your heart. He was just waiting for the right version of you to receive them. God says, what I am about to release requires the person you've become. If it had come earlier, it would not have lasted. If it arrived before this growth, it would not have been sustainable. Timing matters in heaven. You may feel tired from the waiting, but you are not empty. You are filled with wisdom, with discernment, with quiet strength. And now God says, you are ready to see what I was preparing. Don't skip this, because what comes next will make sense of everything you endured. And in the final part, God will speak His promise over what is about to begin. Stay, God says softly. The revelation is almost complete. This is God's promise over your next season. Don't skip this, because this is the moment heaven seals what has been spoken. This is where waiting turns into meaning. This is where pain begins to loosen its grip. God says, everything you walked through was preparation, not punishment. You questioned yourself during the waiting. You wondered if you misunderstood God. You feared that maybe you were asking for something that wasn't meant for you. But God says, I never planted a desire in you that I didn't intend to fulfill. Some promises take time because they require depth. Quick blessings fade, prepared blessings last. And what God is bringing into your life now, it is meant to stay. You are stepping into a season where you won't have to force everything anymore, where effort will finally meet outcome, where peace will replace pressure. God says, you will feel the shift before you see it. It will begin quietly, a sense of calm where anxiety lived, clarity where confusion once echoed, confidence where doubt used to speak. You won't wake up one day and suddenly have everything, but you will wake up knowing you are no longer stuck. That is the sign. God is restoring more than circumstances. He is restoring you. The confidence that was shaken, the joy that faded slowly, the hope you guarded carefully. God says, I am giving you back what you lost about yourself. You didn't just lose time. You lost belief. You lost ease. You lost the version of you that trusted freely. And God never ignored that loss. He says, I keep track of what pain takes from you. And He promises restoration, not replacement. What returns will be stronger. What grows now will be deeper. What forms next will be wiser. You will not repeat old cycles. You will not fall for the same traps. You will not accept what drains you. This season taught you discernment. And discernment is a gift. God says, I am opening doors that match who you've become. You are no longer the person who begged for approval. You are no longer the one who tolerated less than peace. You are no longer confused about your worth. You learned through loss. You learned through silence. You learned through endurance. And now, that learning becomes protection. There will be opportunities ahead that feel aligned, not rushed. Connections that feel safe, not draining. Decisions that feel clear, not forced. God says, this time, you won't have to convince yourself. You will recognize what is right because it brings peace, not anxiety. You may still face challenges, but they will not shake you like before. You may still have questions, but they will not control you. You may still have moments of doubt, but they will no longer define you. God says, you are stronger now. Not louder, not harder, but steadier. And that is the kind of strength heaven trusts. Some of the things you prayed for will arrive in unexpected forms. Not how you imagined, not when you expected, but exactly how you need. God says, my answers are wiser than your requests. You asked for change. God gave growth. You asked for relief. God gave resilience. You asked for clarity. God gave character. And now, He is ready to release the outcome. This next season will feel different, not because life becomes perfect, but because you are no longer at war with yourself. Peace will become familiar. Joy will feel safe again. Hope will no longer feel risky. God says, you don't have to brace yourself anymore. You've spent too long waiting for the next problem, too long expecting disappointment, too long preparing for things to go wrong. But God says, prepare now to receive. Receive peace, receive clarity, receive momentum. You will look back at this season and realize it didn't break you, it refined you. And one day, you will help others through what you survived. Your testimony will not come from perfection, it will come from endurance. God says, what healed you will guide someone else. And finally, hear this clearly. God is not finished with you. If you are still breathing, still hoping, still searching, heaven is still writing. God says, you are exactly where my hand can reach you. So don't skip this moment. Let it settle. Let it strengthen you. Let it remind you, you are loved, you are guided, you are protected, and the season ahead, it will make sense of everything behind you. Stay close, God says. We are just beginning.